Boys, what is up here? We are going to make a little bit of a tier list for League of Legends arenas. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, boys, is we're gonna go through all the champions and we're gonna kind of like talk about why they're strong or why they're weak. Maybe even what kind of augments they can use. So let's go over this first. Let's start with the first champion, Aatrox. So Aatrox, I think Aatrox is like fairly strong. I don't think he's like super high tier, but I think he's definitely mid tier because he can use a lot of augments. But he's at the same time not exactly the strongest champion for arena because those spots belong to other champions. So I mean, you have augments that are very good at him, like Gore Drink. You have augments that are just decent on him. I mean, I guess that goes for every champion, but I'm gonna place Aatrox at B tier because of those things. Okay. So next up we have Ahri. I'm not the biggest fan of Ahri in Arena, and guys, remember this tier list is my opinion. You may not agree, you may not disagree, but I think Ahri definitely probably belongs in C to D tier. I think I'm just gonna place her into D tier because I don't know. You just have a lot of better options when it comes to mages. I mean, what can Ahri run? Ahri, I guess, has potential to do well, but she's not exactly great. I mean, just none of the augments are like super amazing on her. I guess Spell Wake would work, but apart from that, I just don't think she's gonna do very well in arena. Then we have Akali. I really don't like Akali in arena. I think she just belongs into the E tier. Sorry, because Akali is just like. I mean, maybe I'm not crediting her well enough here. I think maybe she's like on the same level as Ahri, but generally, I think I'll just keep her in the E tier because I really don't like excuse me, Akali at all for arena. Next up we have Aksha. Yeah, Akshan. Akshan. eh, I'm kind of gonna put him into the same. Actually, well, the thing is with Akshan, you can perform very well on him if you get the right augments. I don't think he's amazing, but I don't think he's bad necessarily. I think he probably is a little bit worse than Aatrox, so I'm gonna put Akshan in C tier. Um, the thing is, if you can get something like Death Touch on him, well, I mean, obviously Death Touch is not in the game at the moment, but they could put Death Touch back in the game at any time. So, Akshan is gonna go into the C tier here. Like I don't want to talk about every individual champion too much, otherwise this video is gonna become like 3 hours long, and I kind of want to keep it like a breakfast for you guys. You know, it's not too much information, but you know there is some information. So for Akshan, you know, if you main Akshan and you want to make him work, you can make him work. So then we have Alistar, and Alistar obviously is very strong in arena. I don't know if I want to give him S tier. He was definitely S tier before. Well, I mean, we have Z tier being like super duper strong. I think Alistar deserves the S tier here. I think Alistar, like, you can get Courage of the Colossus on him. You can, you know, like when Desecrator was the thing, you can get Desecrator. Any augment that has shielding or even like Guilty Pleasure is gonna do super well on him. I personally really like Alistar, and I think he definitely deserves a high spot on the tier list. You know what? Actually, let's put him in A tier. Because he is very augment dependent. If you don't get the right augments, you're not gonna have a good time on Alistar. Then we have Amumu. I think Amumu kinda goes into A tier as well. Amumu's pretty strong. You can do extremely well with Amumu. Like you can do multiple builds. You can go full tank. You can build AP. But I think he's just like, you know, when I'm thinking about the higher tiers, I really want to reserve those for champions that do well in almost every single game. So we're gonna put a Mumu here in the A tier, as a solid tank, solid tank. Okay, then we have Anivia. For Anivia, you know what? I actually quite like Anivia. I've played a few games of Anivia, and I think she's decent. I think honestly she deserves B tier, just because, you know, when you get egg, you still revive as well. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, egg still revives. So, I mean, you get an extra shot. If you make it to the zone on Anivia, you still have egg, and you can out-survive the opponent with your egg. Combine that with like a nesting doll or something, and then, you know, you're good to go. So yeah, Anivia B tier. Then we have Annie. I don't really like Annie in arenas. I think she deserves like the same ranking as Ari. She can be strong again. I think every single champion on the list can be strong, but Annie, let's just put it into D tier. She has some decent augments. When you get Ultra Revolution, you can have 2 Tibbers. You can get Minion Mancer on her, and your Tibbers will do more damage. But again, it's not exactly the strongest champion for Arena. Then we have Aphelios. Aphelios, actually, you know what? Most people would probably put Aphelios into F, like the lowest of low. But I actually think he can do pretty well. Like, I played Aphelios with Draw Your Sword, and you know what? I kind of popped off. So I'm going to put Aphelios into D tier just for that. He's still, you know, weaker than Akshan. But okay. Then we have Ashe. I think Ashe is actually, and I'm kind of like doubting whether I should put her in S or whether I should put her in A tier. Because Ashe just has the potential to be so strong. I think actually I'm gonna put Ashe into S tier because Ashe just deals so much damage, and with the current meta being like tanky boys, I think Ashe definitely deserves the spot. Actually, no, I'm gonna put it in A tier. Okay, A tier. So the meta in Arena is mostly like tanky boys, and Ashe shreds tanky boys. So I think she definitely deserves to be this high up in the list. She also has some amazing augments. I mean, if you go Symphony of War, she's gonna pop off. If you go Tab Dancer, she's gonna pop off. If you go like any on hit, like twice, thrice, she's gonna pop off. There's basically a lot of augments that Ashe can benefit from. So that's why she deserves to be here up high in the tier list. Okay, so next up we have Aurelion Sol. I think A-Sol is like same level as Anivia, or maybe even a little bit more, maybe an A tier on A-Sol. The only thing is, like, you're gonna have a hard time in the early game. Maybe that's why he's gonna be bumped down to B tier, because his early game is very rough. Okay, overall, when you're thinking early game A-Sol, it's gonna be very hard to actually like win the rounds in the early game unless you're paired up with someone who is very good in the early game, so that they can carry the early game and you can carry the late game. But I do enjoy playing A-Sol in Arena. I think he's pretty solid. Okay, then we have Azir. Excuse me, guys. Then we have Azir. So I don't personally play Azir. I'm very bad at the champion, because I never really put like too much effort into Azir, and I think he got a pretty substantial buff for Arena, because every Azir that I've played against has been like completely popping off. So I think Azir probably goes into A tier. I think he got a solid buff for Arena, and that's why he belongs here. And there's also a lot of good augments that go onto Azir. So if you want to play Azir, I think he's recommendable. So then we have Bard. Now Bard used to be like up here. Okay, Bard used to be up here for Arena. Nowadays, not so much anymore. I've tried him a few times. I think he still deserves like a pretty decent ranking, probably A tier. But definitely not S or Z or ban anymore. That was before, not anymore. Alright, so up next, we have Belvet. Now Belvet is an interesting one. So there's a thing now, it's Healer Belvet. And Healer Belvet is good. It's like actually really good. Like when you go Moonstone, you go Sword of Blossoming Dawn. then you get some augments for it, and then you're gonna pop off. Like you deal damage and you heal a bunch. So you know what? Honestly, I feel like a Belveth is probably like A tier if you go that build, B tier if you go any other build. So I mean, for that reason, I think I'll put it in B tier. Just because, you know, it's kind of build dependent on what you do. So then there's Blitzcrank. I'm not a big fan of Blitzcrank in arena. You can make it work. You can go on hit. You can go attack speed. You can go crit. You can AP. You can tank. Kind of a little bit of everything, but for everything he's just in C tier. Then there's Brand. I like Brand. I think he definitely deserves to be up in A tier. Although he is pretty squishy, but like I really like Brand. If you get like some decent augments on Brand, you're just gonna pop off completely. Then we've got Braum. So Braum is an interesting one. I think Braum does pretty decently into like most things, but I'm just not the biggest fan personally of Braum. But you can do some pretty incredible things on Braum, so he's going into B tier. Then we have Caitlyn. Not much to say about Caitlyn. I think she like kind of deserves to be right here. You can make Caitlyn work, but I mean, I wouldn't say she's like very great in arena. Same thing for Camille. She's not very great in arena. Like I'm not a big fan personally. There's no like augments that like really pop off with her. Like for example, where you got Alistar with his insane Curse of the Colossus. Like something like that doesn't really exist for Camille necessarily. So I'm not the biggest fan. So I'm gonna just put it into D tier. Then we have Cassiopeia. Now Cassiopeia, there's a lot of potential there. You have like Phenomenal Evil. If they bring back Doomsayer, Doomsayer is huge potential. Spell Wake is huge for her. There's basically a lot of things that are big for Cassio. So I think I'm gonna put Cassio into B tier together with Nivea and Asol and you know what? In the end, guys, I might actually bump everyone up one slot, depending on if I actually like want to put champions here. Because like I think I'm going about this kind of wrong, so we might actually end up removing this and this, but we'll see. So Cho'Gath, not the biggest fan of Cho. I mean, you can do a lot with Cho'Gath, like steal your heart. You can go Stegosaurus Rex. You just become tanky overall. I think Cho'Gath probably goes into the B tier. So not exactly super great, but not bad. So Corki, I like Corki. Like having package every round is insane. Okay, I'm gonna put him in A tier just for that. Just for the package, because no matter what build you go, no matter what augments you get, you can do a lot of damage with Corki, no matter what. And it's like every start of the round, you can just package in, and your enemies are gonna be like 50% already, right? And then the augments he has available, he has like the Ezreal ult augment. He has he can even go Tap Dancer. He can go basically anything. Corki is a very, very solid. Like I mean, even like accelerating sorcery works, even Master of Duality works. Like anything works on Corki really. Like you're never gonna have like an augment phase where you're like, okay, I do not like any of these augments. There's always gonna be something that you like on Corki. So Darius, I'm not a big fan of Darius in arena. I think Darius in arena is just E tier. He's very kiteable. I mean, maybe he goes into D tier. I think, yeah, probably D tier is better for him. So Diana, not the biggest fan of Diana as well. I mean, she has like pretty good damage for, you know, a mage. She's pretty okay. Master of Duality can work on her. Symphony of War can work on her. Let's put her into D tier as well. Not the biggest fan. So then we have Mundo. Okay, so Mundo is an interesting one, right? Because Mundo, if there's a Vayne, you're gonna get absolutely blasted. I think Mundo might actually be the first one that we can actually put into S tier. Because like his regen, his ult is very good. You can get it back by hitting the plant. You can do basically a bunch of things on Mundo. Obviously, you want to be a tank. You can pair it up with basically anything in the game, and then still do well. So I think Mundo is like one of the first that we want to put in a tier above everyone else. Like the only thing you have to watch out for is Set, Vayne, and Gwen. Setvane and Gwen beat Mundo, that's it. All the rest of them you can beat. So then we have Draven. I'm not the biggest fan of Draven, even with his unique item. It's still Draven. Draven is one of those champions wherein he's hard to execute anything with. But if you're a really good Draven, you can make it work, obviously. I'm not a really good Draven, I can make it work. I've tried him with the unique augment Blood Brothers, which applies the bleed, and it's fun and all, but not very strong. So then we got Echo. Echo, I think Echo is kind of like the same level as Diana, wherein, you know, they're melee mages, they kind of do damage, but then at the same time it's kind of rough to make it work in arena. So Echo is gonna just go into D tier. Then we have Elise. Have I even played Elise in arena? I actually don't know if I've played Elise in arena. I think I played her once, like on the last arenas, not on this one yet. But she probably, same thing, D tier. She probably works, but doesn't work as well, you know what I mean? So then we have Evelyn. I don't think you can make Evelyn work, to be fair. I think Evelyn, maybe you can make her work, kind of, but I just think she just doesn't belong in arena, you know what I mean? Then we have Azrael, the first AD carry that is actually going to be above C tier. I think I'm going to put it into B tier because Azrael just has so many great augments going for him. I think that if you're playing Azrael, you can actually make a lot of things work. So even Magic Missile works on him. You can even get Azrael ult augment on him because, you know, like Q's a lot of range. You can get cooldown, you can get basically anything works on Azrael. Again. Then we have Fiddle. I think Fiddle is probably around the same, probably D tier. D tier with all the rest of these guys. If you land a good ult at the start of the round, you know, it's very nice, you can make it work. If not, it's kind of not great. Then we have Fiora. I think Fiora is very good. I really, really like Fiora. I think Fiora is either A tier or S tier. Now, I think she's S tier. Actually, Fiora is really good into Mundo as well. I kind of forgot about Fiora. My bad, Fiora. So if you get like any like on hit augments, it works well for her. But the one you really want is Mystic Punch. If you get Mystic Punch, you can Q every single second. I made a video on that. You should check it out. Fiora Mystic Punch, yes, OP. All right, so then we got Fizz. I've played Fizz a few times. I think he's a little bit better than like Diana, Echo, and, you know, the other mages. I quite like Fizz. You get some cooldown on him and you can make some things happen. So I think he's pretty solid. You also have, you know, Zonias. You can get Wooglets and then get a bunch of AP, whatever. Then we've got Galio. Now Galio is an interesting one. I think if you get the right teammate, he works really well, and you can get like Guilty Pleasure, you can get Goliath, you can get Courage of the Colossus, Slap Around, all of those things. And I think that actually puts him into A tier or low S tier. I'm probably gonna make a video on Galio tonight, so we'll see about that. So for now, I kind of wanna put him into A tier because you are a little bit dependent on your augments, but I mean, you know, he has a lot of like tanky augments which are really good for him. Now GP, I don't like GP at all. I mean, maybe I'll put him in E tier like more together with Akali, because you can make him work. It's just like there's no absolutely insane augments for him, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not the biggest fan of him. Then we've got Garen. Now Garen, I think, also deserves A tier. If you get like Jewel Gauntlet on him or something like that, you can just like completely pop off with those ults, the E's, the Q's. Crit Garen, a lot of fun. Just spin on people and they just die instantly. I have a video on that if you want to check it out. So yeah, I think Garen just deserves an A tier. Gnar. Okay, Gnar is interesting. I played a game of Gnar. I think he's like okay, but he doesn't really match up with like all the rest of the bruisers that are gonna be up here, right? So yeah, I mean, not exactly the best, also not the worst, you know. I mean, if you like him, try it out. If you don't try it out, you know. So now this one is interesting. Gragas. Okay, I think Gragas is really strong. I think he's S tier actually. I think Gragas is actually S tier because okay, you get Eureka, you get bread and cheese, and you can literally infinitely belly slam into people. Okay. So imagine how annoying that is. And like you're literally gonna be unstoppable. Like you will be unstoppable. And then the rest of his spells hurt as well. So like that's something you have to think about. If you wanna see a video on that, just comment down below. I'll try and make one. Then we go to Graves. I'm not a fan of Graves. Not at all. Not in Arena. I think he deserves a D tier here because I don't know, he's just like he's okay, but he's not great at all. So I mean, it's kind of like a Philios in a way, I guess, wherein you can make it work, but it's gonna be hard for you to make it work. Okay. Okay, then we got Gwen. Now I think Gwen is either a ban or a Z tier. Okay, let's maybe not go for bans. Let's just go for a Z tier. Let's just remove this ban thing entirely. So Z tier is gonna be like you want to play it or you want to ban it. Okay, so she's gonna be in both of these. Gwen is just insane. In the current meta that Arena has, it's like everyone wants to go tanky, and then Gwen is literally the best thing to fight tanks. Okay, literally the best. If you get some augments on her, like duality works really well on her. If you get Mark's Mage on her, you just win the game. If you get Mark's Mage, you just win the game. That's it. Mark's Mage is literally the best augment on this champion. You can also get Outlaw's Grit if you want to be tanky. And I mean, Mark's Mage, that's it. You get Mark's Mage, you win. It's easy as that. Hecarim. I am not the biggest fan of Hecarim personally, but I've seen people run rabble rousing on him. So you Q spam, you heal. Spin to win works as well. Your Q gets ability haste. You like if you get spin to win and rabble rousing at the same time, you just like Q or bread and butter Q, and then he becomes actually pretty decent. So I'm just gonna put him A tier. I think A tier works. I'm not the biggest fan of him personally, but you know it works. All right. So then we've got Heimer. So Heimer is an interesting one. He used to be really strong in Arena, but I think they kind of nerfed him, or like the way he plays. So Heimer is just not so good anymore. I mean, you could go Minion Mancer, and I think if you go Minion Mancer, he's gonna be like around the same strength as he used to be. But then you have to get that Minion Mancer augment, which is, you know, kind of difficult to get sometimes, because if there's someone else in the game with you, you might, you know, share the pool with them. So I think, you know, Heimer probably right now belongs into D tier. Not gonna lie. Then we have Ilaoi. So Ilaoi is a very strong champion. Very strong champion. I think I'm gonna put Ilaoi like right up here with in the S tier with Mundo Fiora Gragas, because her test of spirit, I think this is her E, just deals 1,000,000 damage. Like you can do so much damage with Ilaoi without even having to go near people. Also, you can if you have an ally with you and they have something like Phenomenal Evil, you can literally stack on the spirit in the middle of the lobby. Okay. So while you're waiting, stack on that. It's OP. So what can she go? Like Rabble Rousing, Goliath, Gorging, Heavy Hitter, bread and jam, bread and cheese, bread and butter. Like anything is really good on her. Minion Mancer even works on her. So something to keep in mind. She's very strong. So now we have Irelia. So for Irelia, like she kind of functions the same as Fiora does, but in a worse way, because Irelia it's like a lot harder to actually get it. So I think Irelia goes into the D tier. She still is a strong fighter, but if you don't get like a lot of cooldown on her, and if you don't get Mystic Punch, you're just gonna be in for a very bad time. Okay. So then we have Ivern. I actually like Ivern. I like Ivern, but I don't think he's like super strong. But I think he's like definitely worth trying out. I'm just gonna put him into B tier. I think he deserves a nice B tier. Like you can go Minimancer, you can go Ultra Evolution, you can go all of the healing augments. Like for example, what was the name again? All for You for the big shielding, Sonic Boom, Holy Fire, Angel of Retribution, Dark Blessing, Critical Healing, all of that stuff. Like it's gonna do really, really well on him. Okay. Then we've got Janna. Janna. I'm not the biggest fan of Janna. I think Janna is like a bit lower than Ivern, so like a C tier. Does the same thing but worse, I think. All right, then we got Jarvan. Jarvan can do well if like the pairing is right. I think generally he's like a little bit worse than like the others that we have so far. So I'm just gonna put him into C tier. Nothing much special to say about Jarvan in my opinion, because no, it's Jarvan. Like he does okay. He's fine. Then we got Jax. I think Jax is pretty solid. I kind of want to put him into like A or B tier, high B tier, low A tier. God, I mean, I'll put him in A tier because a lot of augments just work on him. You can do basically, anything you want. Actually, maybe I'll bump Garen down to B and then have Jax. Whatever, it's fine. We'll keep it there. So Jace, not very good. I tried him. He's like D tier, kind of. Actually, I'll put him below Aurelia. It only makes sense that I put him below Aurelia. So I played him like twice or thrice, and I always got decent like placed, but not exactly the best champion to run an arena. Then we've got Jhin. Now Jhin is interesting. Jhin got a really good buff for arena, so I'm gonna put him into S tier because because of that buff. Like if you've played Jhin in arena, you're gonna know. You're gonna feel how good he was. I don't know exactly what they buffed. I'm not gonna lie here, boys, but I think Jhin definitely deserves to be up in S tier, maybe like low S tier to mid S tier, but I think he's very, very solid. So then we got Jinx. So Jinx, I've tried to make her work a few times. I think she's kind of like, I think she's a little bit better than Caitlyn and Aphelios, but not much. Okay, so I'm maybe C tier. I'd place her a little bit better over Draven and Co. I think Chauffeur is pretty fun on her. You can also run Little Tempo Conqueror. I think she's okay if you go like an on-hit build. I kind of want to. I'm not sure if I want to bump her down or not. I'm not sure if I want to bump her down. Well, I mean, I guess it's up to you guys if you want to see her bump down or not. Like, I'm kind of indifferent about whether she should be in D or in C. Then we've got Kai'Sa. I think Kai'Sa is probably the best AD carry that you can play together with Jhin. So far, I think Kai'Sa is very good. She also benefits from duality. I'm just gonna put her into B tier. I mean, Ashe is better still. Kalista, I'd say Kalista probably E tier, obviously. Then we have Karma. Okay, so Karma, that's another interesting champion. I think Karma is very, very strong, especially with her empowered W. Like she can survive so many things. That said, I'm not the biggest fan of her, so I'm probably gonna put her either in low A tier or high B tier. I think she probably deserves to be in high B tier. I think high B tier works. Now Karthus is interesting. So funny thing is, like, I tried to get a Karthus video done. I was trying to get a Doomsayer Karthus video, or even a Plague Bearer video with Karthus, and I never got it. That's why you didn't see the video on my channel. But I always got either second or first place on Karthus. So popular belief is probably Karthus belongs into F or E tier. However, I feel like he deserves to be in C tier. I think he deserves to be in C tier. I think Karthus is actually solid. Kassadin, same thing. If you get to scale up, your early game is going to be hard. But if you get to scale up, you just kind of win. However, I think losing so many early rounds probably bumps him down to D tier here. Then we've got Katarina. Katarina can do well, but I feel like she's not going to do well super consistently. But I think she's definitely better than the other mages because, you know, it's Katarina. So I'm probably going to put her into B tier. I think she deserves B tier. Kale is hard. If you get to scale up, you can do a lot. She can run a lot of augments. Master of Duality. Lethal Tempo Conqueror. I mean, like, there's a lot of things you can run on Kale. Okay. Kale, as long as you don't throw too much in the early game. Oh, Marks Mage. Dude, okay, everyone that can run Marks Mage, like, pretty much belongs here. If you can run Marks Mage and you get Marks Mage, losing the game is extremely hard. Okay. It's extremely hard. Okay, so then we got Kayn. So Kayn. Oh, we got blue form and red form here. Kayn. Okay, I'm just gonna do this. Blue form, D tier. Okay. Red form, I'm gonna put him into S. Both Kayns here. I'm gonna put him into S tier. Okay. Kayn is very good, very strong, super strong. You can get like Spin to Win. You can get Outlaw's Grit, Gore Drink, Earthwake, Bread and Butter. You know, those things, if you get one of those things, you win. Unless you're playing against Gwen. Gwen is next level. Okay. Cannon, Cannon is alright. He's not the best, he's not the worst. Probably, honestly, D tier. I mean, the champion himself is just not strong enough. Kha'Zix, I don't like Kha'Zix at all. Maybe, I mean, I don't really want to put him in F tier. I probably put him in like E or D tier. Maybe like a high E, low D. Yeah, let's do that. Like, let's keep him in high E. Kindred, I actually like Kindred. I think Kindred is solid and fun. And actually, wait. Let's put him in C tier. Now that I remember, like, people are kind of dumb and they get isolated. So I think probably I'll put him in C. So Kindred, like, if you get like Death Touch, Twice Thrice, etc., like every on-hit thing, I think Kindred is better than the average 80 carry. Because, you know, the dash, like the ult, I think Kindred is probably B tier. Then we have Kled. Kled is like a double-edged sword, you know, double-edged weapon. I think you get like some decent augments on him, you can do extremely well. But he's nowhere near top tier, so I'm gonna put him into B. Like, let's say Kled is like a low B. Now Kog'Maw is really solid. Why? Because you can run Marks Mage on him. I don't think he deserves to be in Z tier, but I think he deserves to be in S tier, at least mid S tier. Okay. Cassante, dude. Okay, so the thing is, I don't know how to play Cassante, but if I see Cassantes, they always do well, but not well enough because you have champions like Gwen, you have champions like Fiora, you have champions like Kayn. So for Cassante, I'll probably put him at the same thing as Kled. Dude, okay, LeBlanc. If you get the right augment, you're unstoppable. If you get like an Earthquake, if you get even Accelerating Sorcery, honestly, it does so good on her. And I can imagine, like, with the right combination, you can even run Chauffeur on her. Why? Because you can like chain people. It's like chain. You know what I mean? Like, she's a lot of fun. Okay, now Lee Sin for me, probably B tier. I'm not the biggest fan of Lee Sin. He can do well, but he's not exactly great. And then we go to Leona. Leona is definitely S tier. Why? She gets access to Rabble Rousing, Curse of the Colossus, Guilty Pleasure, etc., etc., etc. She's insane. Leona is insane, absolutely insane. I had a game with her where I got Golden Spatula and I just demolished everyone. It was funny. It was crazy. Okay, so next up, what do we got? We got Lilia. Lilia, I think Lilia probably up in S tier as well. why she does really well against tanks. She does really well against tanks. She gets phenomenal evil, spin to win, magic missile, etc. Even bread and butter, where you can Q every second. Eureka, she gets Leandries and then just destroys every tank in the game, which is the meta right now. So Lilia S tier. Lissandra, I really don't like Lissandra. I really don't think she does super well. I'm just gonna put her into D tier together with Annie and co. So Lucian, here we go. Lucian is another interesting one. I think Lucian has the potential to just stomp. Okay, Lucian can stomp. If you get god, what's the equal one again? Bread and cheese. Bread and cheese. If you get bread and cheese, or Shadowrunner or Thread the Needle, Lightning Strikes, anything on hit as well, he works out really well. Lucian definitely on top of Jinx, together with Ezreal into the B tier, I think. Yep. Then we've got Lulu. I've made Lulu work a few times. I think Lulu's actually decent because Polymorph is really annoying. I think I'm gonna put her into C here. But I mean, she could be doing better. She could be doing better. But actually, maybe C is too low for Lulu. Nah, let's keep her in C. Then we've got Lux. I'm not a fan of Lux, but if you get bread and butter on Lux, you're gonna be unstoppable. You can just like infinitely CC basically, unless the combo breaker comes out, right? But I'm gonna put her below Karma. I think that makes sense. Malphite. If you get like a full AD lobby, Malphite's gonna be great. If you don't get a full AD lobby, it's gonna be a bit less great. You know what I mean? I mean, I've seen some Malphites like pop off completely, but I think he's gonna be put into C tier. Then we've got Malzahar. So Malzahar is an interesting one as well again, because I think Malz does really well into most things. I really like Malzahar actually. I really like Malzahar. So you run Magic Missile on Malzahar. You get I don't know what do you even get? Like you get a lot of different things on Malzahar that just work. You can get Q ability haste. You can get W ability. I mean, like anything works on Malzahar. To be fair, Ultra Evolution, whatever. Malzahar is always a pain in the ass to deal with. Magic Missile is the best thing on him because you can just drop Magic Missile and then walk away. You can drop E and walk away and let Magic Missile do the rest, basically. So Malzahar probably B tier, maybe even A tier. Actually, I'm tempted to put him in A tier. So he's gonna be our boy in A tier here. Maokai. Maokai is a really solid pick for me. I really enjoy playing Maokai because again he gets access to Guilty Pleasure, he gets access to Curse of the Colossus, all those things. If you get, you know, if Plague Bearer comes back and you can run Plague Bearer on him, and Desecrator, you just win. Okay, if you get Desecrator on Maokai, you just win. Okay, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I'm gonna put Maokai into B tier, maybe even A tier actually. But I might be biased because I was a Maokai main before. Okay, so Master Yi. So Yi is like an interesting thing. I think he got nerfed in Arena, and ever since then I have barely seen anyone play him. So I'm gonna probably put him into D tier here. Sorry, Gossip. Then we got Milio. You know what? If the Curse Augments are there, Milio actually does pretty decently, but I just don't think overall he's good enough for Arena. He's probably like on the same level or maybe a little bit higher than Lulu, maybe like a little bit lower than Ivern. So I'm gonna put him like C tier, like maybe like a mid C tier. MF, I really don't like MF. I don't think MF belongs in Arena. I'm gonna put it in E. It's just like it's too easy to deal with an MF. So then we have Mord. Mordekaiser is kind of decent. Okay, maybe not E in maybe I'll put E and C like together with these guys. That makes more sense because he can be all of these for sure. Mord, I like Mord. If you get the right augments on Mord, you just completely smack people. you completely smack people, so I think Mord probably goes into like C tier-ish as well. Morgana is super annoying to deal with. She's actually really, really annoying. Is she strong? I think she's strong. I think she's like decent. I think she deserves probably like the same-ish as like Karma. That's what where I'm gonna put her. Nafri is alright. Not exactly super amazing, but I mean, like, okay, let's talk a little bit more about Morg bread and butter. Obviously, get the Q cooldown. You can get like Eureka, those types of things, and then she's gonna pop. So Nafri, I don't know how to feel about Nafri. She used to be stronger in Arena. I think they might have nerfed her. I'm not 100% sure about this one, but like, I mean, Brutalizer, Minion Monster Nafri is interesting because you get a lot of dogs. I mean, your pack dogs are gonna deal more damage. Outlaws Grit works well on her. Earthquake works well on her. Probably put her into B tier. Then we've got Nami. Actually, I don't know how Nami does. I've had a Nami. I played with a Nami and she did well. So Nami, like if the Nami plays like the guy that I played with, she's gonna be like B tier. But I mean, generally, I guess we'll put her into C. Nasus is pretty damn strong. Again, he's like a tanky boy. I think I'm gonna put him into A tier. Just does really well overall. Wither is super annoying. So like, dude, if you get bread and jam, like holy crap. Bread and butter, holy crap. Rabble rousing, holy crap. Heavy hitter, holy crap. Goliath, ice cold. If you get ice cold on Nasus and you wither someone, they literally cannot move. Like they literally become unable to move. Okay. So then we got Nautilus. I really like Nautilus. I think he's like same level as Maokai. Maybe a little bit lower than Maokai because Maokai can heal and Nautilus cannot. So there's that. So then we have Nico. Nico C tier. Not much to say about Nico. Not really a big fan of Nico. Maybe the on-hit build does better than the AP build. Who knows? Nidalee. I'm gonna put Nidalee in F tier together with I mean maybe if you get bread and butter she could be E tier. Just not the biggest fan. Okay. Let me just vape real quick. Okay, what else we got? We've got what's her name again? Nyla, I think is probably one of the strongest AD carries. So I'm gonna put her in the same list as Ashe. I think she just does pretty well. Okay. She does pretty well. What augments would we want on her? Probably Symphony of War. Scopier weapons maybe to get some extra attack range. Scopiest weapons. Probably like Symphony of War is what you want to get. Then the crit augments like Soul Siphon, Tank It or Leave It is fine probably too. Lightning Strikes, Twice Thrice, you know, things like that. Gore Drink, those would do well on her. So then we got Nocturne. I don't know how to feel about Nocturne. I feel like Nocturne skews, like the attack speed you get, it's pretty solid, right? I think it's good. But I mean, he does have some drawbacks. But I think if you get Symphony of War on him, he's kind of gonna pop off. Okay, so let's put Nocturne into like B tier. Actually, no, he probably doesn't deserve to be here. Although Aatrox, yeah, okay. So then we have Nunu. I think Nunu is really solid because they buffed his Q to heal 100% from champions. If you get the right augments on Nunu, you can just completely pop off. So I think I'm gonna put him into B tier as well. So what kind of augments do you want? You can, if you get bread and butter, you can just like infinitely heal, right? If you get something like Phenomenal Evil, Rabble Rousing, Guilty Pleasure even works because of E and W. Eureka if you want to go AP, etc, right?
So Olaf, I'm not really a big fan of Olaf. I think he has a hard time like sticking on people, especially with the plants that are around. I'm gonna put Olaf into D tier together with Darius. Symphony of War probably for him if you're looking at augments, or maybe Tap Dancer. Tap Dancer could work. Actually, Tap Dancer probably better. Oriana, I think Oriana's pretty decent. I think she deserves like a little bit higher than. I mean, probably same-ish as Karma. Wait, where is Oriana? I've lost her. Oh, here. So Eureka works on her. A lot of things work on her, to be fair. Okay, so then we have Ornn. Now Ornn used to be the strongest champion in the arenas. Nowadays, not so much anymore. Nowadays, I think he's like mid tier, a little bit maybe like just below high tier, probably around the same as Maokai and Nautilus here. If your teammate gets mythical, you get to upgrade all of those items, right? So that's nice. So what do you want to run on him? Tanky things. Steal Your Heart, Guilty Pleasure, Celestial Body. Obviously, you want to run, what do you call it? Heart Steel, Curse of the Colossus, Slow Cooker, even. Anything like HP and damage related. Okay, so then we got Pantheon. What do I think about Pantheon? I think Pantheon is doable. I think he's a good fighter. Probably better than Master Yi. Same level as Jax-ish. Maybe Jax is a little bit better than Pantheon because he can just do more consistent damage. Pantheon W ability haste is huge because you can keep stunning people. So bread and jam. That's bread and jam. Slap around. You get up to force per stun. You can pair up those two. You just win. Bread and butter is fine too. More Qs, more glory. Thread the needle for Mystic Punch because you can W Mystic Punch. You get the W back basically. So that's really nice. Then we've got Poppy. Poppy is one of those champions that is always solid in arena. She's super tanky. She deals damage. She probably deserves an S tier, to be fair. S tier Poppy. You get like Curves of Colossus, Rabble Rousing, Guilty Pleasure. I mean, you can even go for Bread and Cheese, get that 200 ability haste on stun, slap around, heavy hitter, all of those things work on her really well. Steal Your Heart, whatever. It's gonna do really well for her. So yeah. So then we got Pyke. Pyke is okay, is not exactly the best. I mean, you can run the augment, not the augment, the item that increases your ult damage, which is nice because it actually works on Pyke. Do I think he's deserving of anything above C? Probably not. He's fun. You can run Earthquake. You can run Bread and Cheese. Bread and Butter works as well. But he's not exactly like one of the best champions, you know what I mean? So then, wait, I've never seen a Quinn arena now that I see Quinn's portrait here. So then we've got Kiana. Kiana, I'm not a Kiana player, so I don't really know if she's gonna do super great. I think she's gonna be like a D tier champion probably because she's kind of easily counterable. What would you want to run on her even? Ultimate Revolution maybe? I think that'd be pretty cool. Like you can just throw them into the wall twice. Like they come out, boom, you throw them in again. Now Quinn probably same level as Aphelios and Caitlyn probably. So then we've got Rakan. So Rakan is an interesting pick. I actually quite like Rakan. I think Rakan is like very strong. If he gets Earthquake, he just demolishes everyone with like the power of the Earthquake. If he doesn't get Earthquake, you can probably prompt for something like Guilty Pleasure, Curse of Colossus, and survive a lot of things on him. So I think he's pretty damn solid. So I put Rakan on probably same level as Spike-ish. So then we got Rammus. Rammus is okay, like he says himself, right? Let me just take a little drag here, boys. Very nice. Okay, so Rammus, if they run like a lot of AD champions, yes, you can run Rammus. Augment wise, obviously the same thing: Curse of Colossus, Tormentor, Guilty Pleasure, anything with CC or something. You just run that. I think Rammus, if they're all running AD, you go Z tier Rammus, right? But if they're not, which most likely is not gonna happen, he probably gets like an A tier, same as Galio-ish. Then we have Rek'Sai. I don't think I've ever seen a Rek'Sai. I don't think I've ever seen a Rek'Sai. And if there was, she probably wouldn't do well at all. I'd say Rek'Sai E tier. I don't want to be mean to Rek'Sai and put her in F with Evelyn, but E tier, most likely. So then we have Rel. So Rel is a really solid champion. Even if she doesn't do super great in solo queue, she's gonna do really well in arena. And that's a nice thing because some champions are actually getting play. Like Skarner, for example. You don't see him in solo queue, but in arena he's a god. So, Guilty Pleasure, Curse of the Colossus, Tormentor, whatever, slap around any of those augments, you win. You're gonna do really well on Rel. So she's awesome, okay? She's awesome. Then we have Renata. Renata is like, honestly, probably like E to D tier. I probably say D tier because like her ult is pretty damn good. Like especially if the enemy has like augments like what do you call it? Augments like Symphony of War, or they're just very strong in general. Like I think a Renata ult. You know what? Maybe let's put Renata into C tier. Maybe let's put her into C tier. I think she's deserving of the C tier. She's not like bad, you know. She's not super great, but she's not bad. That's for sure. So then we got Renekton. I think Renekton probably C tier as well. He's not super great, but you can run some decent augments on him. You can run like Goliath. I think Goliath is like probably the most common one for him. That's gonna do well. You can run Bread and Jam for more Ws, Brutalizer, Spin to Win, etc. Right? Then we have Rengar. So Rengar, I think Rengar only does well if you pair it up with like an Ivern or something. I don't see Rengar as a really great champion for Arena. Like literally the only thing you can do is pair him up with Ivern. So he can do well, but he's probably not going to do well. So we're gonna put him into E tier. If you do pair him up with an Ivern though, I suggest you run Back to Basics. I think Back to Basics Rengar together with Ivern is pretty insane. Okay. So now we got Riven. So Riven is your typical Earthquake champion, right? She just dashes, 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 dashes. Do I recommend her? Maybe. I think she's decent. I think she's pretty solid. If you run Earthquake, you get Outlaw's Grit, you get Slap Around, and you're just gonna do really well. So I think she deserves probably A tier. Together with like Jax and Garen, that makes sense, right? So then we've got Rumble. I've seen Rumble do really well, but I don't think he's like the best at anything. I think Rumble's probably like mid tier together with Diana and Echo. Rise is actually really solid. I was very surprised when I played Rise. I'm very surprised with the damage. However, I don't think he's like one of the best champions in Arena. I'm gonna put him together with Orianna. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. So then we have Samira. I think Samira is probably one of the strongest AD carries in Arena. You can run Soul Siphon on her, you can run Gold Drink, you can run Brutalizer, and Draw Your Sword works really well on her. Really, really well. So I'm gonna put her into A tier together with Ashe. Then Sejuani. I think Sejuani is very strong as well. Again, she's one of the tanks. She's getting access to a lot of the tanky augments. I think she does a little bit worse than, like, for example, Maokai or Nautilus. So I'm probably going to put her into B tier here. Then we've got Senna. I kinda like Senna. I don't think she's top tier necessarily, but I think she's like just below top tier for Arena. Okay, so you're gonna build her in a way that she's going lethality. Then if they have a lot of HP, you get Hellfire Headshot, and you can go Tap Dancer, Scope your weapons, Deft, critical healing. Even if you get critical healing together with lethality, she heals a ton. So I'll probably put her into either A or B tier. I'm thinking B tier because like we have Samira and Jax and stuff here. So then Seraphine. I think Seraphine's pretty alright. I think she does a pretty good job with something like Eureka. I think she's just solid overall. Can deal a lot of damage, but probably put her at the same tier as Lux and Lulu, etc. So Set is really strong. I think Set does really well, especially because the meta is high HP people, right? Like, I mean, if you're looking at the top people, mostly it's gonna be high HP ones. Do I think he's the strongest champion of all? Probably not. Do I think he's a really good counter pick? Yes. Gonna put him in A tier together with champions like Jackson, Pantheon, etc. So Shaco. Okay, so there's one champion I'm gonna put into ban, and that is Shaco. Why am I putting Shaco into ban? If he gets Nesting Doll, you're screwed. That's it. You're screwed. Like, there's nothing you can do. Literally nothing you can do. Like, you're gonna try and go kill him. He's just gonna invis. The zone is gonna collapse on you. He's gonna go into the zone. You're gonna go into the zone. He's gonna Nesting Doll. You're dead. Okay. It's just not outplayable. Currently, in the state of the game, the way it is now, you don't want to play against Shaco. Okay. I made a video on that. You should check it out. Then we watch Shen. I really don't like Shen in Arena. I think Shen probably E tier. I mean, he does get access to things like Guilty Pleasure and stuff, but he only has his Stunned. He does a decent amount of damage with Q, but I don't like Shen in Arena at all. Same with Shyvana. Not the biggest fan. I mean, maybe you can go like Tap Dancer, like an on-hit build for Shiv, but I mean, maybe she doesn't deserve E tier. I think she probably deserves like D tier. You can go AP after all, but not exactly great. So Singed for me, Singed is one of the top tier champions as well. I'm gonna put it into S tier because he gets access to Magic Missile. He gets access. What in the world? He gets access to Doomsayer, Plague Bearer. I mean, they're currently not here, but you know what I mean. He also has other things going for him, like Phenomenal Evil. If you play it well, you're Singed. You can like pretty much win a lot of fights. People chase you. People like chasing. Okay. So now you have Sion. Now Sion is an interesting pick as well. I think Sion can do really well in Arena. And I'm gonna put him into S tier as well because he's a chunky boy. You can get Goliath, you can get Heavy Hitter. Heavy Hitter is really big for him. Steal Your Heart, more Heart Steal stacks. They actually buffed Steal Your Heart and they made it, instead of ×4 Heart Steal stacks, they made it ×5. So you get 5 times more Heart Steal stacks. Rabble Rousing is good on him. Slow Cooker is good on him. Guilty Pleasure. Plague Bearer is huge if they bring it back. Curse of Colossus even is great. So yeah, Sion definitely deserves that spot. Sivir, I haven't seen a single Sivir yet. I've never seen a Sivir. I probably put her into F tier just because the way her kit works, it's not good. Skarner is A tier. I'm gonna put Skarner into A tier. Why? Master of Duality. Master of Duality is really good on him. What else is really good on him? Curse of Colossus, Rabble Rousing. If you can get, God, what's it called again? The augment. If you can get cooldown on his Q, bread and butter, and then you get Rabble Rousing, Guilty Pleasure, or slap around or anything like that, heavy hitter, you win. Actually, even rabble rousing alone, you win with rabble rousing alone. Rabble rousing is insane on the champion. You just Q spam. Okay, then we have Sona. Sona, I mean, Sona's not too bad. She's not too great. Same level as Seraphine, I guess. Soraka, oh my god, Soraka can be so annoying, guys. Soraka can be so annoying. Like, Soraka paired up with something else can be really, really annoying. There's some really good augments for Soraka, but again, I'm gonna put her into C tier together with Seraphine and Sona. They're kind of same level. And then we got our boy Swain. Oh my god. Our boy Swain definitely gets the Z tier. Why does Swain get the Z tier? Because Swain with Magic Missile, Swain with Phenomenal Evil, Swain with Doomsayer, Swain with Plague Bearers, Swain with Slow Cookers, Swain with Bread and Cheese, Swain with Bread and Butter. All so goddamn good. So goddamn good. Man definitely deserves that Z tier. Silas. You get the right elements on Silas, you're pretty much unstoppable. But if you don't, you're kind of gonna be like mid. So I'm gonna put him into B tier. Syndra, I really don't like Syndra. I'm not a fan of Syndra in Arena, but she's kind of like the same as Lux in a way, I think. So I'm gonna put her into C tier. Tam Kench. So Tam is another one of those interesting champions. You get some good augments, you're just gonna pop off. For me, I think he deserves to be in the low A, high B tier. I'm gonna put him into A because I feel like he deserves to be there. I think Tam is just a very strong champion overall, and you get like Goliath on him. You get some other augments that just fit well into the tanky boy, heavy hitter, etc. You're just gonna pop off. You can even go Master of Duality on him if you want to, and he's gonna do well. Okay, so yeah, before it used to be S tier or even Z tier. This arena not so much anymore. Okay, up next, Talia. I've tried Talia. I think she's alright, but I don't think she's amazing necessarily. So I'm gonna put her into C tier. Again, it's kind of like Eureka type of augments. You know, just AP in general. Even Mark's Mage would work on her, and then you can get like a Nashor's or whatever it works. Talon, I don't like Talon for Arena at all. I think Talon for me is an F tier. Like, legitimately. The way his kit works, it's just not designed for something like Arena. Taric, extremely strong. Not as strong as he used to be, but he's still a very solid A tier. So very high up the A tier, in my opinion. So probably he's like the highest A tier or the lowest S tier. It kind of depends. You get like a Moonstone, you get like All For You, Holy Fire, Angel Retribution, Sonic Boom, all of those things, and then you're just kind of good to go. Teemo, Teemo used to be a menace in Arena. Nowadays, not so much anymore. I think Teemo probably B tier. High B tier. I would say he's high B tier. Okay. Let's see, Trash. I actually have not seen a single Trash in Arena. I think maybe I should play Trash later. I'm just gonna put Trash into C tier. I think C tier for Trash is pretty solid. I think Flake cooldown would be really nice on him. I think Bread and Butter would also be really nice on him. Curse of the Colossus would be nice. Slow Cooker potentially. You know, those type of things. Tristana, very, very, very heavy on the auto attacking. I think Tristana's gonna do pretty decently. I would say she's probably around B tier. She's kind of like Ash in a way with the attack speed steroid, but I think she's just a little bit worse. Then we have Trundle. So Trundle is a menace, especially in this meta. I think Trundle probably deserves to be in a very high S tier or low Z tier. But I'm gonna put him into S tier. I think he belongs into S tier, like high S tier. Okay, high S tier. You can go Symphony of War and you're gonna be unstoppable. You're just gonna smack people to death. Okay, smack people to death. You can even go on hit on him if you want to. You can steal the enemy tag stats. Lightning strikes works on him very well because you get attack speed and AD. Deft, even Goliath works on him, so you're fine with that. Then we got Tryndamere. Tryndamere is okay, but not great. I would say Tryndamere probably goes into a little bit higher than the Darius tier, like so C tier. That's what I'm gonna say. Then we've got Twisted Fate. Actually, I played Twisted Fate and I found him kind of fun in Arena. Do I mean by that he's amazing? No, but he's kind of fun. So I'm gonna put him in the same tier as like Lux and Seraphine and Syndra. So he's gonna be a pretty nice C tier. Then we've got Twitch. So Twitch is very interesting. Why you can run Marks Mage on Twitch? I think Twitch, just for that reason, because you can go AP and you can run Marks Mage, probably goes into A tier for me. So then we've got Udyr. So Udyr is very strong in Arena, especially because of his like Q. So you get that Q and you can just shred tanks. You can almost one-shot them. Augment wise, you know, you can get scopy weapons. Goliath, rabble rousing. You can go crit Udyr if you want to. Symphony of War. Anything really works on this champion. I think even duality will work. So I'm gonna put Udyr into the S tier. Then we've got Urgot. So Urgot's interesting because like you can get on hit things on him. I think Death Touch is like the most insane Urgot thing ever. Although Death Touch is kind of not a thing right now, so we're gonna put him into A tier. Death Touch would be, you know, the most OP thing ever on him. But I think he's currently what would you even get currently? Heavy hitter, Firebrand, Goliath. Since there's no plague, Draw Your Sword actually works. To turn him melee, so you can do that, and that's pretty decent on him. So Varus, I think Varus is one of the top tier AD carries right now in Arena. Like I've actually seen him getting banned quite often. Varus definitely goes into the S tier. Okay. Why? Because he just deals so much damage. Like you can one-shot people with Varus. Especially if you get Marks Mage. If he gets Marks Mage, it's pretty much game over. Another Marks Mage, basically. What else do you get? Like Armor Pen, Magic Pen, Thread the Needle, Deft, get that attack speed, twice, thrice, etc. If you want to go on hit. Then we're going into Vayne. So Vayne, also very high up there. Also very high. I think Vayne is just a little bit lower than like Samira and Nyla, but Vayne definitely a mid A tier. You get Symphony of War, you get twice, thrice, you get all those on hit type of things, you get crit, whatever you want. Veigar mage wise, I would say is probably higher up than Orianna and Co. Like you would look at an A tier, a high A tier, low A, mid to high A tier. Because of cage, you know. If you get bread and cheese, your enemies are gonna hate you. Because like you can just cage them 24/7. Okay. That's like the most broken thing ever. You can get Eureka because 25% of your AP is gonna turn into ability haste. And so on and so forth. Okay. Then we got Vel'Koz. I think Vel'Koz is just not very good right now. Vel'Koz, I would say low D tier. He's just not very good. Vex, I don't know. Vex is okay because you can kind of kite. You can kind of kite with her. I'd probably say she's like a low D tier. Again, you can get like Eureka, you can get things like that. Okay, like just AP things, penetration maybe even. Then we got Vi. So Vi, S tier. 100%. She's very, very strong. Very, very strong. You get bread and butter, you can Q them, you can Q enemies 24/7. You can get Earthquake, you can get Slap Around, you can get Outlaw's Grit, you can get Penetration, you can get God, what else? Goliath, Mystic Punch. Like you can basically get anything on Vi and she's gonna work. Then we got Viego. Viego. You know what? I tried Viego. I don't like him very much. I think he's gonna be like a D tier. I'm just not a big fan of Viego in arena. He does really well in Summer's Rift for me, but in arena, not so much. Then we've got Victor. Victor. I think Victor does just a little bit better than like Diana, Aiko, etc. Not the best champion, not the worst champion. Phenomenal Evil, Magic Missile, Eureka, Spellwake, you know, those types of things is what you want to get on him. Then we've got an interesting boy. We've got our boy Vladimir. Now, Vlad is very solid in current arena. So you want to get all the cooldown you can get. You want Rabble Rousing, so you get more healing. You want Eureka, Bread and Butter. I'm very tempted to put Vlad into Z tier together with Swain. I think, honestly, he deserves it. Very strong champion. Very good in arena. So we got Volibear. I think Volley is very strong. I think Volley goes into the either high A tier or low S tier. I'm gonna put him into S tier. We're gonna put him into S tier. Why? Because he's very solid. So Volley, he goes. You know what? Actually, nah. I'm gonna put him in high A tier. I think that's where he belongs. Volley just has like a really decent pool of augments he can get as well. Like think Master of Duality, think Goliath, think Mystic Punch. Bread and Jam is really good on him. Rabble Rousing, really good on him. Mark's Mage, really good on him. And then okay, then we got Warwick. Warwick is weird, man. Warwick is weird. Like Warwick can do really well, but it can also do not well at all. He's like a double-edged sword, you know? Like if they have a lot of like range and stuff and they can kite you, you're just screwed. If they don't, you're good. But, you know, Symphony of War is what you want to get on him. Bread and Butter, Gourd Drink, you know, things like that. I'm just gonna put Warwick together with Volibear in the A tier. He's probably a bit lower than Volibear is still, to be fair. Then we go about Wukong. I think Wukong is decent. Do I say he's good? Probably not. You get Spin to win, doing more damage on ult. Bread and Butter, Bread and Jam, Bread and Cheese even. God, and then maybe like a Symphony of War, Ultimate Revolution works as well. But I'd say he's probably B tier. I don't think he's just. I just don't think he's that good right now. Then we've got Zaya. I think Zaya probably together with the worst AD carries like Caitlyn and Philios. Zaya's probably same level. Again, Symphony of War, etc. And then you're good. Then we've got Zerath. I think Zerath just has too hard of a time to like stay safe. So he's probably one of the lower tier mages, not the lowest, but the lower tier. Again, you probably want to like run Eureka. Bread and Cheese would probably be fine too. Xin Zhao, you know what? I haven't seen a lot of Xin, but I think Xin is just like not exactly one of the best champions. Probably put him in D tier. Low D tier to Symphony of War again. Penetration, you know, etc. Then Yasuo. I mean, Yasuo can do well, but I don't think he's going to do very well, generally speaking. Again, another Symphony of War champion, another lightning strikes, deft, those type of things. That's for both of the brothers here. Gonna put both of them in D tier as well. All right, then we got another interesting one. We got Yorick. I think Yorick basically always does well. Maybe not the best champion of all, but he definitely deserves a pretty high spot. I'll probably put him in A tier, like kind of the same-ish as Volibear. I think Volibear is Volibear and Yorick are very good. Or maybe like a low S tier. Maybe we'll put Yorick in like a low S tier. It's a little bit better than Volibear. So what they want to go like Goliath. Minion Mancer is really really good on Yorick because like you keep throwing ghouls at them, right? Then yeah, Thread the Needle, Blunt Force Heavy Hitter, etc. 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 It's gonna do really well on Yorick. Then we've got Yuumi. So Yuumi is an interesting one. If you get the right combination of champions with Yuumi, like Shaco Yuumi or something like that, you can put Yuumi into B tier. If it's Shaco Yuumi, then she goes all the way to ban. But Yuumi overall, I would say B tier. You want Sonic Boom, you want Holy Fire, you want those type of things, right? So then we got Zac. So Zac is a really, really underestimated champion. I think he's really, really good. You know, he also goes Rabble Rousing, Guilty Pleasure, Curse of Colossus, Goliath, you know, those type of things. Slap Around is really good on him. And he does really well because he deals max % damage on W. So he's probably gonna go into the S tier as well. Very underestimated champion. Okay. Very underestimated champion. I don't know why people don't play him more. Then we've got Zed. So Zed is a really solid champion as well in Arena right now. He got super buffed. Super buffed. So Zed is like super, super strong right now. So you want to go like Brutalizer, Thread the Needle, Earthquake, etc. And then you're just going to pop off. So Zed is also an S tier. Then we've got Zeri. I think Zeri got like a very strong nerf, especially on her Q, because if Zeri uses Q before in the last arena, she's gonna insta-clear the plant. Insta-clear the plant, okay? Which is very, very, very insane. So what they wanna go with her? Lightning Strikes, Dab Dance or Deft, Symphony of War, you know, the usual twice tries. Even Firebrand works on her. Is she very good right now? No, she's not. She's B tier. She's okay. If you want to play her, you can. But you know, if you're playing purely to win, then it's not recommended. Ziggs is okay, but I mean, I think he kind of falls into the same tier here, E tier, because Ziggs is like one of those champions that just wants to poke, and that works really well in Summoner's Rift, but it does not work well in Arena because people are gonna like get on top of you no matter what. So yeah, E tier for Ziggs. You can go Eureka, you can go God, what was the one again? You hit an ability out of range, and then you get the cooldown back. That one is really good. I kind of forgot the name. Then we've got Zillion. Zillion is not the worst. I think if you got Bread and Butter Zillion, excuse me, that would be great. But I'm just gonna put him into D tier as well. Just don't think he's great. Zoe, I honestly would not do Zoe. I think she goes into F tier. But if you do want to run her Eureka, Spell Wake maybe, like those type of things. So then we have Zyra, last champion. I think Zyra's solid. I think Zyra is probably one of the better mages. You go Minimancer and then you're good. I'd say she's probably a little bit better in Karma. Maybe give her an A tier. Low A tier. Okay, on Zyra. Minimancer. You can run Eureka, you can run those type of things. And you'll be good. Okay. So alright, boys. We finished the tier list. For those of you who watched the entire video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Crazy that you guys stuck around. So let's run over the list real quick. Shaco is a ban. Then we've got Gwen, Kale, Swain, and Vlad in Z tier. Basically like super, super strong picks. We've got S tier Mundo, Fiora, Gragas, Ilawi, Jin, Kane, Red Kane, Kog'Maw, LeBlanc, Leona, etc. etc. You guys can see it. So this is the end result right here, boys. Let me just pop it all on screen here. The end result. Shaco is the only ban that we have. And we have Z tier all the way down to F tier. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know down below. If you want to see something else that's specific, just let me know as well in the comments down below. And I'll make sure to try and make a video on whatever you want to see. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Peace.